Welcome back, students. Now in today's video lecture, I will be taking another topic from Unit 2 under Essential Ethics for Every Man. Now this is the topic for today's lecture, Dharma. Now this is a word which is very familiar to all of us because in Hinduism, we naturally use this word in everyday context also. So let me here first begin with the definition of Dharma. Now according to religions, this word has different connotations. So there are multiple meanings for this word in several religions, and basically this word is used much in Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainism, which we classify as Indian religions. Now in Buddhism, this word is used to refer to the teachings of cosmic law and order, whereas in Jainism, it refers to moral behavior as well as how to make humans purified. Now when it comes to Hinduism, this refers to various aspects. First is of course correct religious practices. This is where we say it is our dharma to do certain rituals. This dharma can also be towards the duties we do to God. And of course, dharma is said to be the righteous pathway to lead human life. So we see that there are various meanings used in even Hinduism. Now from where does this word come from? Dhar. In Hinduism, this word actually, as I said, refers to different ways in which one does his duty as well as their behavior. Now the root word dharma, that in Sanskrit means to hold or to support. So to lead a virtuous life, we need dharma. Before moving into the topic, I would like to tell the various dharmas in Hinduism. First and foremost, we need to highlight what Sanatana Dharma is. Now this might be not very familiar for most of you, Sanatana Dharma, but it is otherwise Hinduism. We all know our religion as Hinduism, but Sanatana Dharma is the original name which was given to the way of life of the Hindus in this land. Now what does Sanatana mean? It means that something which is eternal. Like we know, matter can neither be created nor destroyed. Sanatana Dharma, or the righteous way of life on earth, has neither a beginning nor an end. But always it leads towards God. Now when you do a set of duties, these are said to be eternal, obsolete duties which every person has to do towards God. So these are religiously practiced duties regardless of caste and creed. So though we have divisions in society, Sanatana Dharma is something which every person is bound to do. So to alleviate pain and suffering and to make one happy in this life, we definitely need to follow Sanatana Dharma, which is a combination of morality and spiritual discipline. So it is not only religious based. Sanatana Dharma teaches us how to be in unison with God, but primarily through our moral righteousness. So here we have a combination of both morals as well as spirituality. So these two should be the guiding principles of every human being on earth. Now Dharma is also depicted as a symbol. We have this Dharma chakra, which we say runs without stopping in life. So this Dharma chakra or Dharma wheel is what we feel to be the foundation of our life itself. Like we see that there is neither a beginning nor an end for Dharma, there is also the belief that for life too there is neither a beginning nor an end because of the way we live it. So this Dharma chakra tries to show us the path of goodness that every Hindu is either seeking or should follow. This is where in India we have this symbol for righteousness. And also, Dharma is highly individualistic. What do we mean by individualistic? It is the duty of every person on earth to follow Dharma. Though we can belong to different religions, different castes and creed, Dharma should be there in every person's life. Okay, let me here talk about the various other meanings of Dharma. From ancient times, we have these dharmas being practiced in this land. So briefly, I will talk about the various connotations or meanings of dharma, and then I will move into what we of the present generation should follow in life. Now, sadharana dharma or samanya dharma is something which applies to everyone. That is where we have these universal values as truthfulness, control over our senses, non-violence, non-injury and generosity. This is something which everyone has in common. We have to practice it in unison. Now, these necessarily relate to morality as well as the qualities we have to uphold in life. Now, next is Varnashrama Dharma. We know now that the society is divided on basics. Earlier in ancient India, there were these caste divisions. This is rather now outdated in India. We don't have such a Varnashrama Dharma in India, but in ancient class, they had these divisions in society called as a social class. Now these are the 4 ashrams or Varnashrams which are mentioned in the Manusmriti, which is an ancient Hindu book of law. Now, materialistic duties in life, that is, everyone has a role to play in the society. That is what Varnashrama Dharma depicts. So, these were the 4 classes people were divided into, and mostly they were based on the birth of a child in a particular class. So, they were caste-based and birth-based. So, these were the 4 divisions we had in our society as Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. Next is what we call as Ashram Dharma. This comes in at various stages in an individual's life. The first one is said to be the Brahmacharya, which is where a child is sent for education to an ashram. So a child prepares for life as a student. The next is Grihastha. The child grows, marries, enters into family life and performs their social duties. Next is Vanprastha or Aranyaka. This is where they move to a forest, where they give up all the worldly occupations and desires and start to reflect on self through renunciation. So every worldly pleasure is given up and they move into the forest. Lastly is the sannyasa, where they give up all material belongings like property. They live alone in forests and go on the pathway to moksha, which is spiritual liberation. So this is where we have the stages of human life as ashram dharma. Next comes Visesha Dharma. What is this? This is where we have to live according to universal laws. Though we can be born into a particular caste, though we can be in a particular stage of life and follow those particular dharmas, we also have to interpret universal laws which is common to every person. Now, like lifestyle, diet, money, work, family, sex and marriage. These are common to every human being. But of course, they vary according to the place we are born in as well as the life experiences we have. Now, what is the meaning of this Swadharma? Visesha Dharma insists that every person should understand their own duty and do it accordingly. This is also called as specific Dharma, Swadharma, where according to the place you live in, the class you were born in, as well as the station in life, the various stage in life you are living in, you have to carry out your Swadharma. That is Visesha Dharma related to individual persons. So this is where, according to the place you live in as well as the stage you live in, you have to follow certain dharmas. Now let me next explain the three paths of dharma. They are called as paths or margas. How do you follow the dharma in your life? The first and foremost is said to be the Bhagavad Gita. This Bhagavad Gita shows us three pathways to salvation, that is moksha. The first one Lord Krishna talks about is karma marga, karma yoga, as he mentions. This is where through righteousness you execute the duties in life. You need not pray to God to attain salvation. He says that a common man can attain moksha simply through the path of doing his karma or duties. He also insists that you should do your duty with disinterestedness. Don't think of the benefit you are going to get when you do these duties. So towards self as well as towards the society, discharge your duties with selflessness. The next path which the Bhagavata shows is the Jnana Marga. This is where you attain knowledge. You, through your intellectual knowledge, try to identify Brahman. Now, Sanatana Dharma talks about eternal righteousness, as I said. Similarly, it talks about eternal God, where there is neither a beginning nor end to the God, and specifies Brahman, Parabrahmam, to be the Supreme God. So Bhagavad Gita talks about Jnana Yoga, where you attain knowledge to reach Brahman. The next path which Bhagavad Gita shows is the Bhakti Marga. Now in Hinduism, we worship many gods. So Hinduism talks about various gods, and it is also necessary that we concentrate on one particular god so that we do not be distracted. So Bhakti Marga talks about a personal God. The next yoga which Bhagavad Gita talks about is Raja Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, where you do various rituals and yajnas to reach salvation. Now the other yoga which is very popular in India are these 8 steps of yoga. First is Yama. What is actually yoga? Yoga is control of mind. Because we live in this world surrounded by Maya, which is impermanent. Our senses are taken up by only the external Maya world. So we have to turn inwards, only then will we realize what Dharma is. For that it talks about Yama, which is self-control, Niyama, which is discipline. You attain control and then you do what is expected of you. That is doing through discipline. Third is asana. We are very familiar with this yoga, which relates to asanas to keep the body healthy. Next is pranayama. Both body and soul is very important for us to lead a righteous life. So, to take care of the body, one is physical exercise and the other is breathing exercises. Next is pratyahara. This is where you draw yourself away from the Maya world, from the external senses, and turn inward. Dharana. You need dharana or concentration to turn your inquiry inside you. This is helped through meditation, where you also finally reach samadhi state, which is called as the eternal bliss. So this is where you have these 8 steps of yoga, which Dharma preaches. Now, what are the other religious texts which talks about Dharma? Now, this is where you have another type of Dharma, which is called as Pitri Dharma. That is the duty of a father. Next comes Putra Dharma, a person's duty as a son, and then Raj Dharma, which is executive, that is the duty as a king. So here you see the other meanings the word Dharma has. Pitri Dharma, Putra Dharma, and Raj Dharma. Now, from where do we get the sources for these dharmas? Our Vedas. Those are the texts which talk about various types of dharmas. Now, Smriti, which is, as we know, remembered tradition. Dharma Shastra is there, Puranas and epics like the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Then these are the books, Atman Stuti, approval of one's consciousness and self-satisfaction. Now when we read these ancient texts, we will naturally understand what our inner self is and we will attain bliss. Next, let me talk about another Tamil text which talks about Dharma. It is a collection of various teachings on Dharma. This is a very ancient Tamil text, nearly 2000 years old, written by the poet sage Thiruvalluvar. Now he has divided this text into 3 parts, and these 3 parts have chapters called as Dharma, which is Aram in Tamil. Next is Artha, which is Porul in Tamil, and Kama, which is Invam in Tamil. Now what do these 3 sections deal with? The first section on virtue, that is Dharma, it talks about every aspect of human virtue, both domestic, that is personal, as well as for the last stages in life, which should be as an ascetic. Now the second part of this book deals with wealth. This is where it deals with worldly affairs related to the duties of a king, how a nation should be, that is statehood, and also what is leadership and community life, how should people live in society. The third part of this book deals with love. That is where it covers marriage and wedded love. Though this book has 3 sections, the primary aim of this book is to insist on Aram, which is a Tamil word for Dharma. So this is another religious text which insists on Dharma. Now what is the importance of Dharma to India? Now so far I have explained the different types of Dharmas to you, and Dharma, as we have seen, is the wheel which is perpetually turning. From where did we get this thought for the wheel? Ashoka Chakra, which is a depiction of the Dharma Chakra, the wheel of time or the wheel of Dharma. We also have inscribed this Dharma into our national flag. Now this Dharma wheel has 24 spokes. What do these spokes refer to? They represent the teachings of the Buddha. You know, Ashoka Chakravarti was an ardent disciple of Buddha's teachings, and he took the chakra from Buddhism, where the first 12 spokes represent the stages of suffering. But when you follow the righteous path, suffering can be turned into bliss. So the next 12 spokes represent no cause, that is no worldly involvement, no effect, that is no suffering. So Dharma basically is about conditioning the mind, becoming aware of mind not affected by the external world, but rather understanding that we are, as a human being, have a divine right as well as duty to go in the path of justice. Now this process, the pathway to Dharma, stops between birth and death, Nibbana as it is called. So this Dharma Chakra depicts the time wheel which is continuously turning. Now how can we relate this concept of Dharma to our personal individual laws? This is where we treat Dharma as a guiding light for us Hindus, or rather I should say Indians. So these are some rules which we definitely have to follow, because they relate to social rules, individual rules, as well as cultural norms. As I told you, the purpose of life is to attain moksha. But we need both artha, money, as well as kama, desire in life. But if we are able to balance these two on the basis of Dharma, we can attain moksha. That is the concept of Dharma. Live in a world where your senses rule you. That is artha and kama. You need money, you run after money. You have so many desires to satisfy in life, which is karma. But always ensure that you enjoy these two on the basis of dharma. You do only what is right to earn money. You also enjoy pleasure only to what is right with dharma. So if you are able to balance these two on the dharmic plane, you will be able to attain moksha. That is where life becomes complete. So dharma is the basic rule in life. It is not just a religious law. Don't think it is related to Hinduism alone. It is related to individual behavior, everyday actions or duties which we perform also. So these dharma is a set of duties as well as rights of an ideal society, and dharma mirrors our moral action. So no matter to what religion you belong to, understand that dharma is a universal law where it relates to behavior and moral actions. So to continue to talk about the importance of dharma, learn to lead a righteous life. Do your duty. Understand what is the nature of your duty and execute it. When you do your duty, as the Bhagavad Gita preaches, Karma Yoga, when you do your duty, you will attain divine potential. And you will also be able to live in harmony with God. So to do good karma in life, uphold dharma. What is right alone should be done, not what I need. So don't always do your actions through your thoughts alone. Always place your thoughts on the platform of dharma and know which is right for you. Because doing what is right is not just for the individual. It has to transcend to the family, the class or the caste you belong to, as well as to the whole universe itself. That is why dharma is very important in life. You have to be a very good person on an individual level. Do all your duties correctly to your family, to the class or the society you live in. Only then can it transcend to the universal plane. Keep in mind that if you go against dharma, righteousness, you will land in bad karma. This again is a concept in Hinduism which says that what you do, you will receive back. Do a good deed, it will come back to you manifold. So always ensure that you have dharma in mind in any actions, not just in actions but also in thoughts, words and actions. So that is where you have to always be very cautious. Be afraid to do a wrong deed because what you do will come back to you as punishment. So dharma in life is very important for us. Keep that in mind and understand that you have to practice dharma. This practice is through truth, love, compassion, non-violence, forgiveness, patience, tolerance, cleanliness of self, both body and soul, as well as of the environment and your righteous conduct. So keep these thoughts in mind. Always, even when you have a thought, ensure that it is a good thought you have. The words which you speak should always be through the medium of dharma, and definitely the actions in your life should always have basis on dharma. So understand that dharma is a concept which is very important, which does not relate to any religious sect you belong to, but rather it is according to everyday life actions. Have these noble emotions in you. Base your actions on noble thoughts. You will be upholding dharma in life. So here in this lecture I have spoken of the various meanings of dharma in India and finally come down to the present era where every human being has to make sure that they live happily in the dharmic way and also make the world a happy place to live in. Thank you everyone.